Hi guys, happy Thursday, February 4th. We are going to jump into our third day of text structures with a new text structure, but first let's review. Remember, text structures are just ways that we are going to organize our nonfiction writing. Nonfiction is going to be our informational, our biographies, our autobiographies, things like that, okay? These are our real text, things that have actually happened. Text structures are going to be how we organize them. I've already covered two. Talked about descriptions, which is where an author is just going to provide a lot of details or adjectives or characteristics or examples to really describe something and give the reader a mental picture. Remember, we said that every single one of these will have its own graphic organizer description. We're going to use web. Okay. With compare and contrast, we are going to use the Venn diagram then. And compare and contrast is just when the author discusses similarities and differences between people, things, anything. Okay, we're going to look for those likenesses and those differences. Okay, well, today we are going to cover a new text structure, but first you need to open up your text structure guided notes. Remember, you will be turning these in next week, so please make sure you have them done. If you don't know how to find them, you're going to go to Google. Okay, let me go back to Google. You are going to go to your Google Drive, so it's right up here in the apps. Make sure you're signed into your school account or whatever account you use to make this, okay? This is only if you already made that copy of this, but what you're going to do is it should show up right here on your quick access. You might want to go to recent or just type text structure. Okay. Ooh, let's spell it right, unlike me. Okay. And it will pop up when you search it. Mine's right here, so I can just click on it. Okay. Ooh. So I can just click on that and open it. If you have not made your copy, remember, you go to Buzz, click on your ELA period, scroll down as soon as it loads. Oops, I accidentally clicked a Zoom meeting. Don't do that. Be patient. So I'm going to scroll down to that week 5 Monday folder, okay, where in there I will have that text structure notes. Click here for your copy. There you can make your copy. If you've already made a copy, then find it in your drive, okay? Now I am just going to show you what you should write. Maybe. All right, get ready to pause. If you have not got your description notes, you can pause here and copy in those blanks. Remember, you just click on the box and it should let you type. If that doesn't work, then just use that text box feature. Pause here if you need description. Pause here if you need compare and contrast. And then go ahead and pause here and add in this order and sequence, okay? So all this is, we're going to go over in a minute, so you can just type in those, okay? This last one, you don't type in all of those, at least get first, next, then, finally, okay? All right, I'm going to jump back into our presentation. If you pause this, you will be able to fill in your guided notes. All right, so our new text structure is order and sequence. It's also been called chronological order, okay? Order and sequence is just when an author provides readers with those events in order. It can also be a list or steps of a procedure. If you're reading a recipe of any kind, that's order and sequence. It's telling you exactly what order to do things. The clues that we're going to look for are events in order of that they occurred or instructions given step by step. The keywords are often going to be first, next, then, finally, before, after, second, third, okay? Numbers like that. Look for those keywords that just designate time. And our graphic organizer is going to look kind of like a timeline, okay, where we have one thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. Okay? So what we're going to do here is I'm going to read this, and we're going to put these steps in order, okay? So I'm going to read this to you and start thinking about what happened first, then what. After begging my parents to get a dog for weeks, my dad woke me up early one Saturday morning. He wouldn't tell me where we were going as he drove over 30 minutes into the country. Finally, he asked, "What color lab puppy did you say you wanted?" Shocked and thrilled, I chose a black lab puppy and named him Buck. Then we went to the pet store and I picked out a collar, leash, and some puppy food. When we got home, I played with Buck for hours. All right, so see here we have that they beg their parents for the dog, right? Beg parents You know this always takes me a minute to write with my mouse, so please bear with me. Next, they woke up, right? They drove over 30 minutes into the country. Drove into country. Notice how I'm shortening these and putting in my own words, kind of. Okay. They got a puppy. Got a puppy named Buck is what we could write. See how I'm shortening this to make it fit into my graphic organizer. Got a puppy and named him Buck. Where did they go after that? They went to the pet store. Okay. Went to pet store. Oh man, this takes forever, right? Sorry about this, guys. We could also draw another box and wrote that they played for hours. See how I'm just putting them in order. You guys have done this before. You've got it. All right. Now, let's think about this, okay? I'm so sorry, guys. There we go. Actually, this one, yeah, you're just going to think about the steps, okay? The foundation of a pizza crust is the crust, and good crust comes from good dough. You might be surprised to learn that pizza dough is made from nothing more than flour, water, yeast, olive oil, salt, and sometimes sugar. Start by adding your yeast packet to a cup of warm water. Let the yeast activate, and then add 2 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and a teaspoon of salt. Mix all of that together and wait half an hour for the dough to rise. Now you're ready to roll it out. So just think about what came first, okay? So we start by adding, oops, sorry. Oh my, this thing hates me today. So we're gonna start by adding your yeast packet to a cup of warm water. Then you're gonna let the yeast activate and add 2 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and a teaspoon of salt. These are all of our steps, guys. That's how we know that it's order and sequence, okay? All right, let's go ahead and play. What text structure is the text? So our 3 choices today are going to be description, compare and contrast, or order and sequence. You're really trying to figure out what text structure we're talking about. Have you ever closely examined your own eyeballs? Though we see them every day, we don't often stop to marvel at their many unique characteristics. The colored part of our eye, called the iris, contains many single lines that run from the inner edge to the outer edge. The white part of our eye, called the sclera, is usually bright white, but may also contain tiny red lines. The pupil is especially fascinating as it changes in size with even the tiniest change in light. The next time you're in front of a mirror, take a moment to appreciate the many interesting features of your eyeballs. So think about it. Is it describing one thing? Is it comparing the similarities and differences of 2 or more things? Or is it giving us things in order? Take a second, pause, reread it, think about it. Which one is our best answer? It's description. It's describing our eyes. All right, let's do one more. Pizza is so old that its origins are not quite clear to historians, but the word pizza comes from the Latin verb pizzare, meaning to press. It may also be related to the Greek word pita. In any event, the word pizza was first documented in Italy in the year 997 AD. Whatever they were eating back then, however, was quite different from the pizza that we know today. Pizza, as we know it, could never really have been invented until sometime during the 16th century, when tomatoes were brought to Europe from America. This was big, but in my opinion, the greatest development in the history of pizza occurred in 1905, when pizza was first sold in America. The rest, they say, is history. So think about it. Are we describing something there? Are we comparing one or more things, okay? Or are we looking at something that gives us things in order? Is it more of like a timeline? I see a lot of years. That's a good clue. And I know that we have like, oh, quite different. Oh, I think compare and contrast. But guys, think about it. Think about these things. They're happening in order. We're getting a history, okay? It is order and sequence. All right, let's do one more. Description, compare and contrast, or order and sequence here. Hurricanes and tornadoes are both amazing yet deadly natural phenomena. Both generate deadly conditions, but in different ways. Tornadoes are likely to damage people and property with their high winds, which go up to 300 miles per hour. But hurricanes are generally more feared for their flooding. Also, hurricanes can produce tornadoes, which make them quite dangerous indeed. So think, are we describing one thing, comparing the likenesses and differences of two or more things, or order and sequence? We're comparing and contrasting hurricanes or tornadoes, guys. All right, we're not going to do this one. We're going to just jump into our buzz. Let me get into first period. Our Thursday show it is order and sequence. Let's go ahead and jump into this. All right. In order and sequence, the author provides readers with blank events or a list of steps in a procedure. Is it party, chronological, life, informational? I would love to say party, but it's not. Things are in order, so we know it's chronological. What graphic organizer can be used for order and sequence writing? Which one of those did we just use? This one right here, right? This timeline looking one. What clues should you look for in order and sequence? Choose all that apply. Many adjectives? No, that's description. Instructions given step by step? Yeah, possibly. Likenesses and differences are discussed? That's compare and contrast. Events in order of occurrence? That sounds right. Okay. All right, I'm going to have you guys do the rest by yourself. I know you guys have got this, okay? Follow those directions. If you have any questions, you can come to my office hours. Or remember, I am still doing live Zooms. If you email me and say, Mrs. Nugent, you in your video today, you told me if I emailed you, I could get a bonus point toward a wheel spin. You're correct. Go ahead and do that. I only had one person do it the other day, and Corgan Smith got 5 extra points because of it. I'm just saying. If you have any questions, please let me know.